don't know if you guys have heard, but they're making a new Sonic game? Hello everybody, my name is Citrus, and I don't know what has compelled me today to just start talking about Sonic Frontiers. It's not like anything in particular has happened recently. I'm just excited, man. This game, I feel like come to this point of realization that this game is going to be good. Like, without a doubt in my mind, this game's gonna be fun, it's gonna be enjoyable, it's gonna have a cool story. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. So this will be a bit of a rant video, but not like a rant like a rant like yeah, like hooray. I guess what really spawned me to make this video is that EGX is going on, which is this event in London where people can try out different up-and-coming games, and of course Sega was there with Sonic Frontiers, so a lot of people got to try it out for the first time, and all the people who've been playing it over there have just been loving it. I'm seeing more and more like big-name YouTubers get their hands on the game and just say like, yeah, it's great, it's really fun. Even people who were skeptical at first, or even up until that point, just straight up were not interested in the game, have now come around and been like, actually, it's really fun. Actually, despite what we thought before, the game is pretty cool, and it's well designed, and it's fun. And it's just such a great feeling to, as a Sonic fan, to see people who were kind of down on the series, and down on this game in particular, finally get to try it and then be like, actually, despite my preconceived notions, it's cool. Because I feel like it takes a lot for a game to do that, because even if a game might be better than what people expected it to be, there's still kind of, I think, a thing in people's heads where they kind of want to stick to their original opinion. It takes a lot for people to say that like they were wrong or their initial impressions were wrong and that the game is actually cool. So to have like this just like all around great reception for the game, it's really exciting. It's so cool to see everyone on the side of like, oh, this is gonna be a good game, this is gonna be fun, this is gonna be cool. It feels like a lot of Sonic games tend to be just a drop in the bucket, you know. It's just like a game will come out like Lost World or Forces, and it doesn't really shake things up too much for the industry as a whole. It's just a game that came out, nothing more, nothing less. Frontiers really seems to be something that's gaining attention and attraction from people outside of the Sonic base, which you love to see. It just means that the fan base is getting bigger. Like at these different events like TGS or EGX, at both events, you had Sonic Frontiers. Like, the booth was packed with people, everyone was lining up to play it, and when you compared it to other booths, like, I believe there was like Street Fighter and like other just big name booths, I think Call of Duty was there, Frontiers was up there as like, oh, this one has like a high level of traffic, people coming in to try and play the game, compared to a lot of the other booths, even though those were also like big name games. Part of it kind of makes sense in my mind. It's like Frontiers is the strangest game there, I guess, since Sonic has never done open world before. So I guess it would make sense why a lot of people would want to try it out, just to see what this kind of new formula is like, versus something like Street Fighter or Call of Duty, where it's more in line with what you'd expect. Obviously, you'd still want to try it. If you're a big Street Fighter fan, you'd want to go see the new Street Fighter, but it's not as groundbreaking for the series as something like Frontiers is. And that's just like talking about the public reception. In terms of just personally what I've been seeing, it's just gotten me so damn excited. I felt like we were kind of reaching that point where there wasn't going to be a lot more to show of the game. There wasn't going to be like a ton more surprises or anything like that. We were just kind of plateauing a little bit because, you know, they didn't want to show too much. Obviously, when the game comes out, there still need to be surprises. So we just, you know, get music tracks and like little things like, oh, here's a little bit more of the big fishing minigame, stuff like that. But we're still getting like some pretty big information, it feels like. Like, we found out that the Psyloop actually has like little different shapes that you can make to get different abilities, sort of. Like, you can do an infinity symbol, and if you use the Psyloop to do the infinity symbol, you'll get unlimited boost for a certain period of time, which is insane. It just sounds crazy that you can just be like, oh yeah, do a little figure eight, and then you're good to go. You can just shoot off at 1,000,000 miles per hour. There's also the blue boost, which is so freaking cool. If you're on Sonic Twitter, you've probably already seen it, but I believe it's when Sonic gets 400 rings, like the max number of rings, then a little cutscene plays of Sonic that looks very, very similar to the Sonic movie with the lightning effects and just the camera sweep in general. It's like a one-to-one direct thing from the Sonic movie, which is super cool. And then you go at a blisteringly fast pace. It is so goddamn cool. I'm so excited to mess around with this, and it just makes me excited for like what's the speed running of this game gonna be like? I'm really interested in that now, because if you have options like doing a quick little figure eight for an unlimited boost, or getting 400 rings, which is supposedly pretty easy because if you do a Psyloop with nothing in the circle, then it'll just spawn in some rings. So you can just do that a couple times, get 400 rings, blue boost, and then you're going at Mach 5 down all these like hills and stuff. It sounds insane. It sounds so goddamn cool. I'm loving what I'm seeing of this game. It feels like the first time that we're really playing as like a fully powered Sonic, you know? You've got all these, the action combat, which looks fantastic. You have Sonic going at insane speeds. It's just like, it's really good. It's really, really good. There's also, in the settings of the game, I believe, you can like mess with how fast you want Sonic to be or how slow you want him to be. There's also like the different modes. There's like action mode or platforming mode, where you have platforming mode, which is like more slow Sonic down so that you can kind of more easily platform. And then there's like the Sonic mode, the hardcore mode, I guess, where Sonic moves a little bit faster. It's a little bit better for veterans. It's just the amount of options at your disposal is crazy. It feels like you can really fine-tune this game to what you want it to be, which is really exciting, I feel like, because you're gonna have a game where you have all these different options, and obviously, you know, there's defaults and standards that of like how you probably would want to play on your like first run, or just like, you know, the standard. But then if that's not good enough for you, if you like your game a little bit faster, or if you want Sonic to be slowing down a little bit because you're having trouble with platforming, they give you those abilities without necessarily tweaking the difficulty of the game or anything like that. It's just modifying the experience for yourself. I feel like that's great. Oh, and another thing, so if we're talking about stuff that I've seen on Twitter, there's this little cutscene with Sonic like grabbing a Chaos Emerald, and then he does a little like breakdancing thing, and it's so good. It's so well animated. Oh man, it's so nice. It's so nice to see Sonic be so expressive, be so fun. It's one of those things I was a little bit worried about with this game, I guess, being so melancholy, mysterious, kind of sad. These are all like the words that they've been using to describe Frontiers. So seeing this little breakdancing animation, it just reminded you that like, oh, Sonic's still joyful, he's still fun. Even when things are down, he's still, you know, kind of keeping an upbeat tone. And just the animation itself, God, I know I keep on talking about the animation in this game in all of the videos that I've been doing on it, but it's incredible, especially compared to what we got in Forces, where we didn't even have idle animations, where we didn't even have, like, I don't know, Super Sonic wasn't actually animated. When he moved, it was just a static model with, like, you know, glowing effects around him. It looked terrible. Now we're getting, like, real, like, fluidity, personality, just expressiveness out of Sonic in this game, and I can't appreciate that enough. And the craziest part, I think, of all of this, everything that we've seen, because it feels like we've seen a lot. You know, we've seen most of the first island, the Kronos Island. We saw a little bit of the Ares Island, or Ars Island, the desert place. We've seen, you know, mini games. We've seen all the different stuff Sonic has in his arsenal. We've seen what feels like just like a really huge portion of this game, when we really have only seen like the first island, a little bit of the second, and like an even smaller amount of what I assume is the third island, with the volcano, and it's kind of rocky, and that place. So if we've seen all of this, and it's still not even that much of the game, because really, it is pretty much most of the stuff we've seen. First island, then the other 2 islands, which we've seen little bits of, and then there's still 2 more islands after that. There's 5 islands in this game, so we've seen 3, there's 2 more after that. It's just insane. It feels like there's gonna be so much in this game, and it's so exciting. I just can't wait to just like really deep dive into this game, into this world, and just see what's going on with everything that they're planning out for this game. Because like, even with seeing all this stuff, we still don't know a whole lot about the story. We still don't know a whole lot about like the real intentions of Sage and of these robots, and like what's really going on. And I feel like that's so exciting. It's so nice to have that sort of intrigue in a Sonic game, to really go into it and just be expecting like a really cool story. I feel like whenever we've had a new Sonic game in the past couple of entries, people kind of go into it not expecting much, and then even then they still disappoint, you know what I mean? Like with Lost World, for example, you have these new characters, the Deadly Six. They introduce them, don't explain who they are, which is like the bare minimum. I wasn't expecting like, the Lord of the Rings. I wasn't expecting fucking Game of Thrones in terms of the story, but I was expecting you to tell me who these people are. Same thing with Forces, where they have Infinite, barely explain him, they show off Chaos, but you don't even get to fight him. It's like, stuff like that made me feel like we were never gonna get back to that level of Sonic writing that I really wanted to see. But this game's bringing it. It's bringing it, and I'm so excited, man. And I know this is like old news at this point, but I've been listening to the music so much. Vandalize is really, really great, but I'm Here hits so different. It hits all, I feel like, the emotional notes that Sonic Frontiers is trying to hit, being a little bit melancholy, but also being, kind of upbeat, having some of that rock energy in there, and then also fucking violins, man. Violins in Sonic music, it's always gonna be top tier. It always will be, because you have the violins with the electric guitar. That hits so goddamn hard. It just feels like everything is lining up so perfectly. Really, the only complaints that I've heard about, and they're very minor, people just kind of casually mentioning them in their first impressions of the game, when they try them at these different events. People have said that the cyberspace levels are fine. They're not like spectacular. They're a little bit Forces-like in that they're a little hallway-esque, and maybe a little basic, and also, taking from previous games. So that's kind of something that people have been nitpicking, I guess, or just complaining about, pointing out as something not quite as good as the open world segments of the game or the other parts of the game. That's the only complaint I've heard about the game. And that's a pretty solid complaint to have, I think. I think of all the things, of all the stuff in Sonic Frontiers, if the cyberspace levels are bad, I'm kind of okay with that. Because I feel like in Frontiers, these cyberspace levels are just a side thing. And if that's, like, not as good as the main game, it doesn't hurt it as much as if, I don't know, Sonic Forces. Again, hate to keep bringing it up, but that game, the whole game was the boost formula, and it wasn't good. And when that's the entirety of your game, yeah, it's gonna bring it down, because that's the whole fucking game. But in Frontiers, it's just a small part of the game. And I feel like that's fine, because if you want a really good boost game, there's Generations, there's Unleashed, there's all this other stuff that you could play to get your fix. Whereas the open world of Frontiers is something completely new, we've never had before. And so if they're nailing that aspect of the game, that's perfect. That's the main thing that they should be focused on. And if it is as great as everyone is saying, excellent, fantastic. But man, I'm just so excited to play this game. And I think that's really all I wanted to say. Sorry if this video was like all over the place with, talking about this, talking about that, bringing up cyberspace, bringing up Sonic Forces. it really is just me blathering on about fucking Sonic because I'm so excited. I'm so ready. And just November cannot come soon enough, man. I'm ready for it. I'm absolutely so ready for it. But let me know what you guys think about Sonic Frontiers so far. Kind of just in general. This is more of a general video, so just tell me your thoughts in general. Maybe bring up some of the specific stuff, whether it's, you know, stuff like the insane blue boost or Sonic's animations, or maybe I forgot to mention this, there's drop dash in this game, which I believe we knew before, but that's exciting. Hey, any and all thoughts on the game in any of the aspects, please do let me know down below, because I love hearing you guys and your thoughts on this game, because I just love the discussion around this game. It's fun. It's so fun. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Peace.